Hello, and thanks so much for checking out this video. In the studio today, I have a 1968 Fender Jazz Bass. Let's check it out. I think this bass is so cool, it's full of mojo and full of vibe. It is a fantastic sounding and playing bass. But don't worry about adjusting the color of your screen because this bass has been refinished. So I like watching videos about vintage Fenders, and as much as the next person, we really kind of get all giddily about all original vintage Fenders. This, however, and unfortunately, is not one of those. What it is, however, is a true working person's bass that was purchased shortly after 1968 and has been used for countless hours live, playing in bands, and getting real world wear and tear. So the story with this bass, it belongs to a friend of mine, so huge shout out and thanks to Dave for loaning me this awesome bass. I'm really honored that you are trusting me with it. This bass was purchased shortly after his birth year in 1968, and it was originally in a sunburst finish. It has block inlays, bound neck, and this was several years into the CBS era for Fender. And they must have run out of the lollipop tuners because they've gone back to the cloverleaf tuners here. Original pickups. This has an original bridge on it, but somewhere in its history, it was routed for a high mass bridge, but the original bridge has subsequently gone back on. And the electronics have been changed. So instead of volume, tone, it is now master volume, pickup blend, and then tone. It's still a passive instrument. So why did this Fender get modded? The honest answer is a lot of professional players in the 70s and 60s would always look for ways to improve their Fenders. They wanted them to play better and sound better. So to go for more sustain, high mass bridges were put on. In this particular bass's case, the original finish just got worn down from hours of stage use. So it's not quite as fashionable as it is now to have a relic bass. So the owner refinished it in natural. And I think it looks great. It still has lots of vintage bass appeal to it, but it's not the original color. We know it's a 1968, mostly because the owner bought it shortly after 1968, but we can also tell from the serial number that is the large F plate, and the serial number is 6 digits with the first two starting with 22. So here is one of the references from reverb.com. We know Fender was never very accurate with its dating and serial number system, but with those factors, we know it was between 68 and 69, and from a trustworthy owner, we know this bass was from 1968. So let's hear it. For the tonal demonstration today, I'm going to bypass all of the amplifier simulations and cabinet simulations. This is just straight to the board. So let's start with both pickups wide open and the tone wide open. Let's roll the tone knob all the way off with both pickups. Tone at 50%, both pickups. hear the neck pickup. Tone all the way down. Tone at 50%, neck pickup. Neck pickup, tone wide open. Let's try the bridge pickup, tone all the way down. Bridge pickup, tone 50%. Bridge pickup, tone wide open. Let's go back to both pickups, tone wide open. Now let's hear this bass with an amp sim on. So this is my usual Gallien-Kruger 800 RB settings through a Line6 Pod Go. Both pickups, tone wide open. I think this bass sounds great, and there's just something inviting about an old Fender. A common problem with vintage Fenders is the presence of dead spots on the neck, and that's where some of the fretted notes are lower in volume and have a shorter note length, so a quicker decay. Let's see whether or not we can find the dead spots on this bass. So on this particular bass, the fretted notes on the sixth and the 7th fret sound different than the others. There's a small drop in volume and the length of the note is shorter. Let me play the 5th for you. That may or may not be audible over YouTube audio, but there's definitely 2 dead spots here. But compared to the other half a dozen or so vintage Fender basses that I've had the privilege of trying, this is actually not bad at all. I've played a few very expensive, or at least highly priced vintage Fender basses where the dead spots are so obvious that I would find it difficult to play around those notes. But this bass, yes, they're there, but I think you can work around those too. Getting back to some of the modifications that were done to this bass, the honest answer is a lot of Fender bass owners in the 60s and the 70s did not really realize that they were devaluing their instruments with supposed upgrades. No one really thought that those working instruments would one day become either museum pieces or highly sought after vintage instruments. So they just went ahead trying to make their Fender bass play and sound as good as they could. And that is definitely the story with this one. But having said all that, I still think that it's a fantastic sounding and playing bass. And most importantly, I would really encourage people to don't pay that much attention to the name on the headstock or exactly what year or month it was made in. I think the most important thing is, does the instrument inspire you to play? Does it put a smile on your face when you play it? And does it kind of encourage you to engage in sonic exploration and going out and playing gigs and playing with your friends? I think those are way more important factors in an instrument than what year it was made of or whether or not it was refinished. I think all those details are important in how much the public is willing to pay for an instrument now. But as a player, I'm most interested in, is the instrument inspiring to play? And with that, let's put this bass up against a drum track and let's hear how it sounds. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching. I'll see you next time.
Mm-hmm.